Okay, ongoing recording tayo. And also, I present to you the, but before that, can you lead the prayer? Mark Brian. Lead the prayer. Mark Brian. Buwan. Ano ba to? Baka double mo to, Mark, ha?
Yes, sir.
Walang galawan, eh.
Yan,
Okay, lead the prayer.
Sa ngalan ng Ama, ng Anak, ng Espiritu Santo. Amen. Lord, salamat po sa araw na to. Gabayan niyo po kami sa aming mga gagawin ngayong araw na to. Sana po marami rin po kami matutunan sa mga lecture ng professor namin. At ilayo mo po kami sa mga sakit at iligtas mo po ang bawat isa sa amin. Thank you po, Lord. Sa ngalan ng Ama, ng Anak, ng Espiritu Santo. Amen.
Thank you, amen. Nalalapit na ang ninyo, guys, no? Exam nyo, no? Nag-post na ba sa society ang ating midterm examination regarding yung Okay, by the way, our midterm examination, kung hindi ko pa nasabi sa inyo, no? Sa Prim 6, more on multiple choice tayo sa dispute na resolution. Sa CDIN5, I already post my PowerPoint presentation. Totally, guys, dun din naman ako magbabase sa PPT na binase ko sa inyo pagdating sa midterm. Kaya walang babagsak niya pagdating sa midterm sa CDIN5. Nadali lang mga tanungan doon, guys. You need to study lang talaga. And also, in terms of live examination, this will be an written examination also. Ibig sabihin po, I present to you a PowerPoint presentation so that you have to avoid any form cheating because of Google form. 3-1, 3-2, and 3-3. Magkakasabay po ang exam yan. Okay? You have 60 seconds for every question. 1 hour nga lang daw dapat talaga ang exam, sabi ni Sir Jimmy. Sa akin, onwards yun kasi marami yun eh. Baka magkaroon pa ng technical error during live examination. Sa Google form, mas madalas ang technical error, napansin ko. Kasi mga estudyante, nagchat sa akin, sir, wala ako pong ano eh. After you take my examination, attach it in our Google Classroom kung saan ko ilalagay nun also in a messenger. Sa messenger po yung mga sagot. So that all people na hindi po nakapag-exam, maghintay sila bago sila bigyan ulit ng exam. It's either bigyan o hindi. Midterm examination is part. Ito yung guys na na medyo alanganin kapag pinagbibigyan ng estudyante kasi during that time nga may bayad ang examination. Talagang nagpupursige. Lalo pa ngayon na wala nang bayad ang examination pagdating sa midterm. No? Gawa-gawa pa kami ng promissory note niya para makapag-exam lang. Because the essence of having examination is also very hard to a professor to give an examination kasi hindi madali mag-consolidate ng mga questionnaire. Tapos i-approve pa, di ba? Bago ma-approve yung mga questionnaire namin, i-approve muna yan bago ibigay sa inyo kung sakto ba o tama yung mga exam o mga tanong na itatanong sa inyo. But remember guys, please read the kung naalala niyo yung physics examination natin, 50% or 60%. Kukunin ko dun guys, no? Sa Crim 6. Sa CDIN5 kasi wala tayong physics examination mostly. Wala naman ako mabigay ng quiz doon. Ang gagawin ko lang talaga, i-compile ko lang kung ano yung simula. Doon sa PowerPoint presentation na binigay ko sa inyo guys, it's a very big help. Why? Kasi summarize na lang yun eh. Para mga definition of terms, tingnan nyo lang dun. And also sa CDIN5, more enumeration. Please memorize the report, no? Yung magkakasunod-sunod na report. Not only pagkakasunod-sunod, but also the meaning itself. Tapos yung mga pre-writing natin, no? Sa final examination, guys, I'll give you siguro magbibigay ako sa CDIN5 ng final examination. kung gagawa ng on-the-spot police report writing. Susundin lang naman natin yung format pagdating doon sa binigay ko sa inyong notes. Ano kasi yung binigay ko last year, last time sa aking third year na, fourth year na ngayon. Pero dati kasi Google Form, but now, we will given to you the essence of PowerPoint presentation in pre-handwritten examination. Yung iba pa open cam ng iba. Ongoing recording po tayo, no? Ito yung sisimula sa pool na. Makikita yung madalas hindi mag-open cam. In midterm examination, if you do not open cam, no, there's a deduction of points. In terms na lang, kung mayroong problema sa connection, wala tayong problema dun. Pero isang sasabihin talaga ng estudyante yan, sir, may problema sa connection. No? Okay, by the way, 60 seconds is enough for you to answer each question. Isang oras nga lang binibigay sa kada isang daang tanong pagdating sa midterm totally. Pag binibigyan ko ng teacher niyo, yung masyadong mabait na yun, no? Dati last time, pinagbibigyan ko kayo, 3 hours niyo sinasagutan. Sa second year kayo, ngayon hindi. We need to focus and we need to identify each student if their knowledge is enough to take the examination. I know you have a lot of subject, but you have a subject to me also. 2 subject kung hawak ko sa inyo. It's also a major subject. 3 units each. Doon nga sa ibang school na university din matindi yung nagpa-exam doon. Putik yan. Isang buong section yung nalagas, no? Hindi lang pumasa kahit isa. Pero dito naman may papasaya. Kasi nakita ko naman mga quiz examination yung maganda naman. Hindi ko alam kung paano ginawa niyo. Kasi hindi ako bumibilib sa Google Form totally. Iba kasi guys kapag live examination in face-to-face class. Makikita yung kalidad ng estudyante. No open notes talaga yun. You can open yan. Hindi ko naman kayo mapigilan kapag sa midterm mag-open notes tayo. Pero 60 seconds is enough to answer each question. Wait lang. Good luck guys, no? Dahil lang mga exam ko guys. Don't worry. Hindi po mapapanalangin ka na lang, no? Doon hindi ako sa quiz examination natin guys. Focus kayo guys kasi meron ako magkukuha talaga ako ng 50 doon, mga 50 or 60. Depends on me. Kung meron ako makuha ng magandang tanungan doon. Pero yung others is akin na yun. More in situational and analytical thinking. In terms of CRISIC, since this is a dispute and resolution and crisis incident management, we can identify or I can identify each question for analyzation of question. No? Ang hirap nga lang mag-construct ng ganung question. Pero mali mo, may makita ako na ang sa Cream 6, okay. Narinig ba yung background nila? Yung music?
Yes, sir.
Good morning, batch, and good morning, sir. So the topic that I will discuss are types of concealers, 2 major types of dispute resolution processes,
kung may na-signal yun.
The Philippine International Center for Conflict Resolution or PICCR, and the PICCR pen. So let's proceed to the types of concealer. So, itong concealer na ito ay sila yung nagiging conflict sa agreement of both parties kapag kinukuha na yung response nila. Ito kasi yung mga tao na one that conceals o tagapagtago ng katotohanan, which they take no risk and say nothing and they conceal their views and feelings. The first type of concealers is feeling. Swallowers to their feelings. This conflict is for the feelings of individual. In this matter, ito yung tao na kapag stress at nasasaktan na sila ay tumatawa pa rin at ang mahalaga para sa kanya ay ang response o magiging approval ng both parties. Ito din yung hindi kayang sabihin ang kanyang tunay na nararamdaman kasi iniisip niya na ikapapahamak niya ito. Next, subject. Changes who find the real issue too difficult to handle. Changing the subject is the simple denial that the conclusion can follow from the premises, without identifying an actual error in the reasoning. Dito naman, ito yung type of concealers na nagkakaroon ng maraming problema para sa kanya at lalong-lalo na sa organization na pinagtatrabahuan niya. Ito kasi yung taong binabago ang topic na dapat magkaroon ng agreement yung both parties. Naghahanap siya ng ibang topic na kung saan doon mag-agree ang both parties. Last type, avoiders, who go out of their way to avoid conflicts. He or she afraid of possible disagreement at all costs because aside from work life, avoiding conflict can manifest in our romantic relationship, friendship, and even family dynamics, which likely to deny the existence of a problem. For example, if you disagree with your roommate over who needs to do the dishes, your roommate may ignore this issue by forgetting to bring it up, not taking initiative in solving the problem. So the problem was not solved because of ignoring it. Two major types of dispute resolution processes. Adjudicative processes. Adjudication describe the legal process na tumutulong sa pagpapabilis at pagpapahatid ng resolution ng korte tungkol sa isang issue sa pagitan ng two parties. The result of this process ay isang paghatol at opinyon ng korte na legal na may bisa. Ang legal na prosesong ito ay naiiba sa mga kaso sa korte na naghahanap ng hustisya o batay sa ebidensya. Ito ay nangangahulugan na ang isang third party ay gumagawa ng isang may bisang desisyon para sa mga partido, kasama sa mga adjudicative approach, ang arbitration at paghatol sa korte. So next, the consensual processes. Ito ay nangangahulugan na ang mga disputant mismo ang magpapasya sa proseso at kinalabasan. Kasama sa mga proseso ng paglutas ng pinagkasunduang hindi pagkakaunawaan, including the negotiation, facilitation, mediation, or including public policy negotiation. So next, the Philippine International Center for Conflict Resolution or PICCR. Noong 2019, inilunsad ng Integrated Bar of the Philippines or IBP ang Philippine Center for Conflict Resolution or PICCR na nangangasiwa sa mga international at local na arbitration, pati na rin ang iba pang paraan ng paglutas ng hindi pagkakaunawaan na kinasasangkutan ng mga dayuhan at local parties. Nautos nito na itaas ang mga pamayanan ng legal na propesyon at pahusayin ang pangangasiwa ng hustisya sa bansa. At napagtanto na ang network ng IBP nito sa buong bansa ay maaaring higit na mapakinabangan para sa layunin ng pagbibigay ng mahusay at epektibong mga serbisyo sa pagresolba ng hindi pagkakaunawaan sa tulong ng iba't ibang rehiyon. Sa pamamagitan ng pagtatatag ng PICCR, umaasa ang IBP na gawing pangunahing opsyon ang arbitration para sa paglutas na hindi pagkakaunawaan. Gawin itong mas madaling ma-access at mapagtanto ang mga potensyal ng arbitration at iba pang ADR mechanism sa Pilipinas. The PICCR will promote the use of arbitration sa pamamagitan ng pagbibigay ng mga arbitration-related facilities, administrative, and case management services na katumbas ng mga international arbitral institutions, as well as high-quality education and training for interested arbitrators and intensive promotional and marketing events, particularly during IBP events. The PICCR will provide intensive training courses para sa mga interesadong arbitration at ADR practitioner na may layuning gawin ang Philippines a competitive hub for arbitration and ADR in the region. Magsasagawa ito ng mga workshop at mga
By the way guys, maganda yung presentation nila na malinaw, tapos yung PowerPoint nakikita talaga. For the next reporter, sana ganyan yung mga PowerPoint nyo. No? Always remember, there have a plus point in terms ng kung sino pinakamataas sa atin guys pagdating sa finals. Okay.
sanay para sa mga nais na sanayin sa arbitration at ADR. The PICCR will hold accreditation course consisting of 3 modules as follows. Module 1 on Fundamentals of Commercial Arbitration, Module 2 on the PICCR Arbitration Rules, at Module 3 on Writing Arbitral Awards, na kung saan ang mga kalahok ay sasailalim sa assessment sa bawat isa sa mga module na ito, at para sa layuning maging kwalipikado sila para sa kasunod na mga module. Ang accreditation course ng PICCR ay naglalayong tiyakin na ang mga kinikilalang arbitrator ay magkakaroon ng kinakailangang kaalaman, kasanayan at kadalubhasaan upang maging epektibo at mahusay na mga arbitrator o kaya ADR practitioner. The PICCR is governed by its Board of Trustees na binubuo ng 7 trustees elected by PICCR members. Mananatili sila sa pwesto ng 2 taon. Pero sa 7 trustees elected by PICCR members, the 5 of the trustees will be elected from the incumbent IBP Board of Governors, while the 2 shall be elected from among the members of the center. The PICCR pen. Ang centerpiece ng PICCR logo ay ang pen. This represent the power of the pen, ang kapangyarihan ng pangatwiran at ang pagkakaroon ng alternative at mapayapang paraan upang malutas ang mga hindi pagkakaunawaan. The color gray, the color of the pen, ay sumisimbolo ng walang kinikilingan at kalayaan. Ang dalawang bilog na nakapatong sa dalawang tatsulok sa kaliwa at kanang gilid ng dulo ng panulat ay sumasagisag sa mga partido sa hindi pagkakaunawaan, while the bigger gray circle on the top of the pen tip ay kumakatawan sa arbitrator o neutral, na siyang magresolba o magpapadali sa paglutas ng pagtatalo ng walang kinikilingan at malaya, batay sa katwiran ng principles of justice. Ang mapa ng mundo sa loob ng oval ay nagpapakita ng mga bahagi ng mundo kabilang ang Pilipinas ay kumakatawan sa domestic at international trust ng PICCR. Ipinapahayag nito ang pangmatagalang adhikain ng PICCR to make the Philippines a competitive hub for ADR in the region and worldwide. The oval shape and purple color that circumscribe the centerpiece at naglalaman ng buong pangalan ng PICCR ay kumakatawan sa ugnayan sa pagitan ng PICCR at ng IBP, at ang gabay na ibinigay at ang pananaw ng IBP na nagbigay daan para sa pag-set up ng PICCR.
Salient features of RA 9285, Alternative Dispute Resolution Act of 2004. It is an act to institutionalize the use of an alternative dispute resolution system in the Philippines and to establish the Office for Alternative Dispute Resolution and for other purposes. Ginawa itong batas na to ng RA 9285 para mas mapalawak ang pagbibigay daan in the terms of alternative dispute resolution. This act was created para masolusyonan yung mga problema na kinakaharap ng ating bayan. Next is alternative dispute resolution. It means any process or procedure used to resolve a dispute or controversy other than by adjudication of a presiding judge of a court or an officer of a government agency. In alternative dispute resolution system, meron tayong tinatawag dito na mediator. Ang ginagawa dito ng mediator is siya yung pumapagitna sa dalawang panig upang mapagkasundo ang mga ito. Adr Provider. It means institutions or persons accredited as mediator, conciliator, arbitrator, neutral evaluator, or any person exercising similar functions in any alternative dispute resolution system. This is without prejudice to the rights of the parties to choose non-accredited individuals to act as a mediator, conciliator, arbitrator, or neutral evaluator of their dispute. The ADR provider is siya yung nagpo-provide ng once na magkasundo ang dalawang panig sa mga bagay na pinagtatalunan nila. Ang ginagawa dito ang ni ADR provider ay siya yung nagbibigay ng advice sa kung ano mga dapat at hindi dapat nilang gawin. Next is authenticate. Means to sign, execute, or adapt a symbol or encrypt a record in whole or in part. Intended to identify the authenticating party and to adapt, accept, or establish the authenticity of a record of term. Next is arbitration. Voluntary dispute resolution process in which one or more arbitrators appointed in accordance with the agreement of the parties or rules promulgated pursuant to this act resolve a dispute by rendering an award. Next is arbitrator. Arbitrator, the person appointed to render an award alone or with others in a dispute that is the subject of an arbitration agreement. Ang pinagkaiba nito sa arbitration, yung arbitration is yung mismong proseso para mga proseso na sinusunod upang mapagkasundo yung dalawang panig. While the arbitrator, siya yung mismong tao na gumagawa ng paraan para mapagkasundo o masolusyonan yung problema dun sa agreement, dun sa dalawang partido. Next is commercial arbitration. An arbitration is commercial if it covers matter arising from all relationships of a commercial nature, whether contractual or not. Dito sa commercial arbitration, karamihan dito ay yung mga mabilisang kontrata lang or talagang walang contract na nakapaloob. Confidential information. Any information relative to the subject or mediation or arbitration not to disclose or obtain under circumstances that would create a reasonable expectation on behalf of the source that the information shall not be disclosed. It shall include communication, oral or written, made in a dispute resolution proceedings, including any memoranda, notes, or work, product of the neutral party or non-party participant. An oral or written statement made or which occurs during mediation or for purposes of considering, conducting, participating, initiating, continuing, of reconvening mediation or retaining as mediator, and pleadings, motions, manifestations, witness statements, reports filed or submitted in an arbitration or for expert evaluation. Sa confidential information, from the word itself, confidential, ito yung mga impormasyon na hindi maaaring o pwedeng ipamahagi sa kahit kanino man.
Good day. My topic is about salient feature of RA 9285. Convention Award. A foreign arbitral award made in a convention state. Ibig sabihin, ang convention na ito ay dapat ilipat sa pagkikilala at pagpapatupad ng mga arbitral na gawad na ginawa ng mga teritoryo ng isang estado. Maliban sa estado kung saan hinahangad ang mga pagkikilala at pagpapatupad ng mga naturang mga parangal at magmula sa mga pagkakaiba sa pagitan ng mga tao, piskal man o legal. Dapat din dito ilipat sa mga arbitral award na hindi sinaalang-alang bilang mga domestic na parangal na sa estado kung saan hinahangad ang kanilang pagkakilala at pagpapatupad. Convention state means a state that is a member of the New York Convention. Ang convention state, isang pambansang pagsikap na tumawag ng isang konbensyon sa ilalim ng Article 5 ng Constitution ng Estados Unidos. na limitado sa pumungkahin ng mga susog na magpapataw ng mga pagpipigil sa pananalapi sa pamahalaang federal. Maglilimita sa kapangyarihan at jurisdiction nito at magpapataw ng mga limitasyon sa termino ng mga opisyal at miyembro ng Kongreso. Court, as referred to in Article 6 on the model law, shall mean a regional trial court. Ibig sabihin ng court, isang lugar kung saan nagaganap ang paglilitis at iba pang mga legal na kaso kung ang mga taong naroroon sa naturang lugar, lalo na ang mga opisyal at pinipili kung may nagkasala, nagtipon-tipon ang mga nagpoprotesta sa labas ng korte upang hintayin ang hatol. 4. Court-referred mediation means a mediation ordered by a court to be conducted in accordance with agreement of parties when action is prematurely commenced in violation of such agreement. Ibig sabihin po nun, yung dalawang partido, pumasok sila sa isang kontrata, na nag-agree po sila ng isang kontrata, pero dun sa kontrata na yon, nakasaad doon mismo na kung sakaling magkaroon ng issue between them, wala munang pupunta sa korte para magreklamo or magdemanda. Aayusin muna nila or they will settle first the differences in accordance with a mediation process. Government agency. A government or state or agency is a permanent or semi-permanent organization in the machinery of government that is responsible for oversight and administration of specific function such as an intelligence agency. Example of these agencies include the Department of Energy or DOE and the Internal Revenue Service or IRS, which is a bureau of the Department of the Treasury. Most federal agencies are created by Congress through statutes called enabling acts, which define the scope of an agency authority. The last one is international party. International party shall mean an entity whose place of business is outside the Philippines. It shall not include a domestic subsidiary of such international party or a conventurer in a joint venture with a party which has its place of business in the Philippines.
Good day everyone, and especially Sir Jake Espinol. By the way, I'm John Lester E. Padilla. Our the next topic is the continuation of Chapter 1, General Provision, short title, Alternative Dispute Resolution Act of 2004. The next topic is the Court Annex Mediation, means any mediation process conducted under auspice of the court after such court has acquired jurisdiction of dispute. So, ang sinasabi lang dito sa Court Annex Mediation, lahat daw ng court mayroong kanya-kanyang jurisdiction depende sa kung saan ito na may sakop. Ang example ko dito, ako ay nakapag-commit ng crime. Ang kinumit kong crime ay 6 years pataas. So, yung may court, yung may jurisdiction na hawak sa akin, yung RTC. Kasi sa RTC, yung kaso lang ang kaso doon ay 6 years pataas. Ayun yung pwedeng mahawak sa'yo na court. Paano naman kung not more than 6 years? So, pag not more than 6 years, ang pwedeng hawak sa yung korte ay MTC, na kung tawagin ay Municipal Trial Court, Metropolitan Trial Court, mayroon pang sinasabi na MCTC, Metropolitan Circuit Trial Court. Ayun yung sinasabi ng Court Annex Mediation. Next is Court Referred Mediation, means mediation ordered by a court to be conducted in accordance with agreement of the parties when as action a prematurely commenced violation of such agreement. Ito, meron na tong desisyon upon order of the court. Yung both parties meron silang agreement
na kung saan yung isang party doon mayroong binayolate, kaya magkakaroon ng court-referred mediation na kung saan makikisali na yung Supreme Court para mapaayos na yung problema ng both parties, yung dalawang panig na iyon. Ayun ang sinasabi ng court-referred mediation. How about early neutral evaluation? Means an ADR process wherein parties and their lawyers are brought together early and pre-trial phase to present summaries of their cases and receive non-binding assessment by an experienced neutral person with expertise in the subject and substance of the dispute. Example, yung any, ito yung tao or mga eksperto sa mga pag-i-evaluate ng case. Yung dalawang panig or yung both parties, if-free trial sila, na kung saan ipipresent yung mga summarized cases nila upang mapag-ayos yung dalawang panig na iyon. So, sa next naman yung mediation. Means a voluntary process in which mediator selected by disputing parties facilities communication, negotiation, and assess in the parties reaching voluntary agreement regarding dispute. Sa mediation naman, ito yung proseso upang masolusyonan yung problema ng both parties. Kung naaalala nyo pa, sila yung pumapagitna sa dalawang both parties. For example, yung right side, mayroong conflict. So, yung left side, mayroong conflict. So, yung papagitna doon, yung mediation. Ayun yung sinasabi nun sa mediation. Sa next naman, yung mediator. So, sino yung mag-conduct na mediation? Siyempre, yung tao doon, yung mediator. Siya yung pwedeng mag-conduct doon na kung saan ito yung pumapagitna or sa dalawa. Sa example dito, siya yung judge. Yung judge, siya yung nagko-conduct ng mediation upang makinig sa dalawang both parties upang mapag-ayos yung dalawang pong iyon. So, mediation party means a person who participates in mediation and thus consent at necessary result in dispute. Dito naman sa mediation party, it's either lawyer or ADR provider na nakikipag-participate upang masolusyonan ang problema ng dalawang panig. Yung mediator, ito yung judge na makikinig nga sa mediation party upang magbigay ng judgment. Next, mediation, arbitration of arb is a step of dispute resolution process involving both mediation and arbitration. Example, yung next naman, ito yung mediation, arbitration, ito yung proseso involving the agreement. For example, kung mapipermahan pa ba or may kulang pa ba sa agreement or mayroon pang tama na or kung may conflict naman regarding sa agreement, yung mediation, yung papagitnangan, di ba, sa dalawang both parties. Ayun yung sinasabi dito sa mediation, arbitration, o med-arb. Mini trial. So, di ko na mabasa yung definition. Example ko dito sa mini trial, yung lawyer ng both parties or it's either private lawyer or PAW na sinasabi na public attorney. So, yung dalawang yon, for example, mayroon silang private lawyer na dalawa, yung dalawang private lawyer na iyon, mag-uusap yon. Kaya yung dalawang lawyer na yun, mag-uusap sila, gagawa sila ng desisyon upang mapag-ayos o i-aabot pa ba sa itaas yung cases na yon. For example ko dito, yung yung tao na yung lalaki nagkatrabaho sa dole, na kung saan yung pagkapasahod sa kanya ay hindi sakto lang. Ngayon, yung private lawyer naman, kakausapin niya yung dole para hindi na umabot sa itaas. Hanggat maaari, mini trial para magkaroon na sila ng settlement. So, sa model law, example ko dito sa model law, sa model law kasi, ito sa definition dito, sa ibang bansa kasi sa US. So, pero meron naman tayong model law dito sa Pilipinas. According nga sa Article 6 of sa Regional Trial Court, karaniwan daw sa model law, yung kaso daw ay 6 years pataas. Hindi tulad sa MTCCC at MCTC 6 years pababa. Ayun lang sinasabi ng model law. Non-party participant means a person under party of mediator who participate of mediation proceeding, witness, resource person, expert. Sa non-party participant, ito yung witness or resource person or expert witness. For example ko dito, yung sa court nga andun na yung prosecutor tsaka yung judge. Siya yung pumapagitan sa dalawang yon during mediation process. Tsaka yung prosecutor, pwede siya maglabas ng witness or expert witness upang mapatunayan yung akusado ay mapawalan siya ng kasalanan. So, ayun yung sinasabi ng non-party participant. Proceeding means a judicial, administrative, or other adjudicative process including related with hearing, motion, conference, and discovery. Example dito yung the word itself, pinuproceed na yung kaso or nagsisimula na yung yung kaso of mediation process. Next, record means an information, written, tangible medium, stored electronic or other similar medium, retrievable form. So, the next naman yung record. Di ba nga sa modern technology na tayo, so yung written information na natin, pwede nang itago sa computer or personal computer like tsaka laptop or other gadgets of sa vital information naman, ito yung confidential information na kung saan bawat ilabas. Sa tangible naman, ito yung mga file, yung mga papers o mga folder na tinatago nila sa private room. So, meron naman tayo yung tinatype nilang information. Kung in case na masunog yung private room, meron silang copy. Yan yung tinatawag na nilalagay nila sa sa computer or laptop, so gadget. Paano naman sa rooster? Means a list of a person qualified to provide ADR service of neutral or to serve as arbitrator. So, dito naman sa example dito sa rooster, pag ikaw tinawag sa yung rooster sa'yo, ito yung qualified ADR provider na binibigyan ng prangkisa ng gobyerno para magbigay solusyon sa mga problema. Yung ADR provider, ito yung mga lawyer or consultant or PAO is considered an ADR provider. So, that's all. Thank you.
So in this chapter, I will discuss the mediation of the salient features of RA 9285. As you can see, last reporters discussed about definition of terms in RA 9285. They explain it para mas maintindihan natin yung mga words that we encounter in this chapter, or which is yung chapter 2 is mediation. This chapter contains how to disclose yung confidential information, exceptions, and other things that you may need to know. In section 9, confidential information, it says that information obtained through mediation shall provide privilege and confidentiality, which says that every information that are not used in mediation are not subject to disclose, will remain confidential, and all information is always privileged because hindi naman lahat na information na yung nilalabas. Next is, it is say that refuse to disclose. Every information na hindi mapagkasundaan ng both parties na ilabas will remain confidential. Next is confidential information shall remain inadmissible in any adversarial proceedings, means any confidential information may not be used in any proceeding unless it is subject to discovery. Subject to discovery is all the facts or evidence that are admissible to the adversarial proceedings. In adversarial proceedings, kung sino yung mga person na involved in mediation are not subject to disclose confidential information. Sino-sino ba yung mga person na yun? 1, yung parties to the dispute. 2, mediator or mediators. 3, counsel to the parties. And next is non-party participants. And next is persons hired or engaged in connection with the mediation as a secretary, stenographer, clerk, or assistant, and any other person who obtains or possesses confidential information by reason of his or her profession. Last is mediator may not be called to testify to provide information gathered in mediation. We will discuss it in Section 12 and Section 13, yung mga hindi dapat gawin ng mediator. Section 12, Section 10, waiver of confidentiality. Confidentiality of information may be waived if it is recorded or orally given in proceedings by the mediator. Ito yung mga bagay na we can waive in confidentiality. Next is pwedeng ma-waive yung confidential information if ang information ay galing sa non-party participant. And lastly, mga person na kayang mag-disclose ng confidential information ay yung mga person na hindi nabanggit sa Section 9 ng Republic Act 9285. Section 11. Exceptions to privilege. May mga exception tayo sa confidential information. Ito yung mga bagay na walang privilege na itago yung information in public. Una, if both parties have an agreement to disclose it. Next, yung mga bagay na naibigay ng time ng mediation will be open to public, also in public. And lastly, yung mga confidential information, threat or statement or plan to commit a crime or crime of violence, yun yung hindi dapat i-disclose yung information. In Section 12, prohibited mediator reports. Mediator prohibited to make reports, assessment, evaluation, recommendation, finding, and other communication regarding a mediation to a court or agency except kung yung mediation, kapag yung mediation ay nangyari na or tapos na. Tapos, if it is permitted to be disclosed under Section 13. So, dito tayo sa Section 13. Mediators, disclosure, and conflict of interest. Ito yung mga sample operative principle in mediation. First, bago yung set as a mediator sa mediation, an individual who is requested to serve as mediator shall make an inquiry that is reasonable under the circumstances to determine whether there are any known facts that a reasonable individual would consider likely to affect the impartiality of the mediator. Disclosure to the mediation parties any such facts or learn. Next, if yung mediator learns any fact described in the paragraph A1 of this section after accepting a mediation, the mediator shall disclose it as soon as practicable. Remember na this act does not require that mediator shall have special qualifications by background or profession. Unless na yung special qualification na mediator ay yung pinagkasunduan ng mediation parties na maging mediator yung pinili nila. Section 14, participation in mediation. A party may designate a lawyer or any person to provide assistance in the mediation. A lawyer of this right shall be made in writing by the party waiving it. Pero yung waiver ng participation sa mediation, pwedeng mapawalang visa yun anytime. Section 15, place of mediation. Usually, in mediation proceedings, ginagawa siya sa conferences, courts, or yung mga place na sakop ng commission, premises na convenient and appropriate in both parties. In Section 16, effect of agreement to submit dispute to mediation under institutional rules. An agreement to submit a dispute to mediation by an institution shall include an agreement to be bound by internal mediation and administrative policies of such institution. Section 17, Enforcement of Mediated Settlement Agreement. A settlement agreement following successful mediation shall be prepared by parties with the assistance of their respective counsel. And yung B is nakapag-sign yung both parties ng counsel and settlement agreement. And other enforcement mediated settlement agreement is the both parties I agree sa settlement agreement that the mediator shall become a sole arbitrator for the dispute. Ngayon, nandito naman tayo sa Chapter 2, which is ang ADR forms. Other ADR forms in Section 18 is referral of dispute to other ADR forms. Parties may agree to refer one or more all issues arising in a dispute but not limited to. Ito yung mga issues na na-arise to dispute pero hindi siya limited sa evaluation of a third person, mini trial, mediation, arbitration, or a combination of thereof.
Good morning, this is Danica Primo. My topic is about PNP DIMTG or PNP Disaster Incident Management Task Group.
I think we stop this session now para dun sa DIMTG natapos daw. Tama ba, Danica Primo?
Yes po, sir.
Open cam nga, diba? Ay, naku. Mahirap tayo pagsabayan nito. Okay, wait lang.
Ulit na, kalis na tayo.
Okay. Any question regarding our midterm, guys? This is our last session for the week, no? Sa midterm na po tayo magkikita. Para question po sa regarding our Frame 6, so dispute na resolution. If there's no question, mas madali sa akin yun, no? Ibig sabihin, naintindihan niya na. Kulit mo. Wala kang tanong, guys, regarding the midterm.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes. Yes, Chris Bell.
Ask ko lang, sir, ano po, pwede po bang coupon ban yung gamitin sa calculator kasi dito kasi ako sa store sa pagdating ng midterm eh.
Oo, pwede. Gusto mo, ilagay mo sa sa kahoy. Sulat mo sa kahoy. Isulat mo sa lapida, pwede rin. Kahit ano. Anything na papel, guys, basta nakikita yung sumagot, no? Wala mo problema yan. Kahit scratch lang yan. No? Oh, sino pa may tanong dyan? Guys, this is our last session for the preparation of incoming midterm examination. Kung wala kayong tanong, guys, no? Ako magtatanong. Are you ready to take the examination in terms of analyzation? Yeah? Siguro, baka kalahati yan mga natin dyan. Sample question. Meron akong sample question dito para mo. Kaya 1 minute ka lang pala. Sayang. I think kaya 1 minute, hindi ko na kaya ng ano yun. Okay. Wait lang. Good luck na lang, guys. No? Kung saan unit 1 hanggang 4 yung discussion natin. Doon po tayo sa yun po ang coverage na examination natin. 1 to 4. Unit 1 to 4. Di ba nandun niya sa notes? 1 to 4. Nakita niyo ba? Kaya check nyo. 1 to 4 dun sa ano natin. Sa discussion natin natapos. Tapos sa CDIN5, guys. Hindi pala ako makapag-meet sa inyo mamaya sa CDIN5 because we are having a meeting regarding meron kaming important meeting in Cubs of Bacoor. CDIN5, huwag kayong mag-expect ng link. No? Mag-review na lang kayo, guys. So meron kayong gawin kung ano mang pagagawa. Ano mang igagawin nyo. Yung reaction paper for the reporter, sa ano na lang yan, sa pagbalik nyo na lang sa November 15, na yung due date niya, para walang hassle, para makapag-review kayo. And also yan, sa CDIN5, hindi ako makapag-meet sa inyo, guys, kasi I'll be having a appointed events in Cubs of Bacoor. Kasi inaasikaso po namin yung mga dokumento para mapanatili na libre ang pag-aaral sa campus. No? Kasi kapag hindi natin nasikaso yung guys, baka sa susunod na year may bayad ng ating that is the reason kung bakit kailangan namin ayusin. No? Para ano lang kayo, alert lang kayo na hindi lang kami meeting basta-basta. We are having a situation, emergency situation na kung saan kailangan namin ayusin. No? Okay, maraming salamat sa inyo pakikinig, no guys, sa Group 1. Very good presentation. Ang ganda rin ng PowerPoint tapos ng video presentation. Sino nag-raise ng hand? Aragon?
Napindot lang po, sir. Sorry po.
Okay, sige. Yun lang siguro ngayon sa araw na ito, mga kaibigan. Maraming salamat sa inyo pakikinig. I hope you have a magandang week na to, no? This is Hell Week. No. Next week pala ang Hell Week, no? Na kung saan ay talagang mapupudpud ang utak nating kakare. Okay? Maraming salamat sa inyo ulit. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.